There's a version of AI in retail that lives in slide decks and conference keynotes. And then there's the version that has to work at 2 a.m. in an unmanned store in Singapore with no staff, no fallback, and a customer standing in front of a shelf waiting for the system to do its job. Alex Ng has been living in that second version since 2021. As co-founder and CEO of Intellify, he has built and operated autonomous retail stores in Singapore, not as pilots, but as real businesses serving real customers across FMCG, beauty, wellness, and collectibles. Now, what that experience gave him is something most people talking about retail AI don't have. A very clear picture of what it takes to build a customer experience that works without a human in the room. Today on Retail Untangled, I'm joined by Alex here at NRF APAC, where we're going to get into what autonomous retail actually looks like when it's running in the real world, how AI is reshaping the customer engagement layer on top of that, and what the retailers who are still sitting on the sidelines are missing. Welcome, Alex. Alex, welcome to Retail Untangled.
Hello, Amy. Thanks for inviting me.
Our pleasure. We're here at NRF APAC. It's the last day. It's been a good 3 days.
Yes, been so busy.
Oh, I hear you. Now, you've been operating autonomous retail stores in Singapore since 2021. They're real stores, real customers, but no staff. What does that actually look like on the ground, and what had to work perfectly for the whole thing not to fall apart?
So just a small correction to that. We actually started back in 2019. So we were the very first to set up AI unmanned convenience store that has real customers. So after we got all the learnings, that's when we started Intellify, going into the B2B segment. And we secured our first few enterprise clients like Singapore Changi Airport Group and 7-Eleven DFI. Yeah.
Excellent. So you've taken this beyond grocery, obviously, into beauty, wellness, and collectible categories. Most people would assume that need a human to sell effectively. What did that teach you about how customers actually behave when there's no staff in the room?
I would say that actually the biggest turning point for myself or even my company Intellify was working with Singapore Museum, Mint Museum of Toys. We wanted to use the same approach to make the whole museum unmanned, but that wasn't the right way because human touch is actually a big thing. So unlike convenience store where all the products are self-explanatory, the customers know exactly what they want and they do not need any kind of a human touch or explanation. Any other retail outside of the CVS actually requires human touch. And that's when we realized that we have been kind of focusing on the wrong problem statement. And that's where we diverted into focusing on adding human touch using AI.
Fantastic. So the customer engagement question in an unmanned environment is fascinating. There's no sales assistant, no one to ask, no human moment. And that's obviously now the focus for you guys. How does AI fill that gap? And what does good AI-powered customer engagement actually look like in a store that runs itself?
Right. I will just give a few examples. So the first example is actually the Mint Museum of Toys. Before we had a project or implementation with them, they had a real human stationed at the main entrance to sell tickets, right? And after implementation, the AI actually helped to take away 80% of the mundane and repetitive jobs, like answering the common questions, how to buy the tickets, etc. And the employee herself could focus on very high-value roles. I guess everyone will ask, what is high-value roles about? So in fact, she managed to have the time and capacity to talk to customers who had a lot more deeper requests and questions. And at the same time, she could do learning journeys and guided tours for these customers. So during peak hours, she still had the AI agent to support her to answer customers who have questions. And during after hours, the AI agent will still remain there during her absence. So that's one of it. So the other client that we had is with a hospitality in the hotel industry. So we implemented AI concierge at their hotel front desk. And what came to us in terms of a surprise based on the statistics were the language. So we found out based on the data that non-English speakers spend 2 to 3 times more talking to the AI as compared to English speakers. So this actually gave us an insight that non-English speaking visitors or guests or customers actually needs a lot of engagement, but that was a big gap without AI because it's so tough or almost impossible to find any employee that could speak like multi languages. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Now, AI agents are the natural evolution of this, moving from a store that operates without staff to one that actively engages, guides, and transacts on the customer's behalf. What does that next layer look like in practice, and how close are we to seeing that across APAC?
I would say that it's definitely progressing. Another example that I could share with you would be with one of our clients. They are a retailer, a premium snack brand in Singapore, who had a retail stall in Singapore Airport. So traditionally, they are actually operating from 6 a.m. all the way to only 12 a.m., which is midnight. And thereafter, they had to close the store. So what we did is we had this solution which is modular, inclusive of AI, the AI ambassador to smart stickers that allowed them to operate from 12 a.m. all the way to their next day at 6 a.m. So they managed to capture this invisible revenue that was previously not possible without the need to add any additional manpower.
Fantastic. Now, there's a significant difference between AI that recommends and AI that executes. That completes a transaction or resolves a problem without that human intervention. What does it take to get a retail operation to the point where that level of autonomy is reliable enough to trust, and also for a customer to trust, which is so important to retailers right now?
I actually agree with what you asked because trust comes from both sides. So for the customer's point of view, right, approaching AI or using AI is definitely not the first instinct because that's not natural behavior. And I think how AI is being interacted with is not norm yet. We are still at a very early stage of that. So human is still required. And AI, like the AI ambassador, they usually or would only act as a backup or a secondary alternative. So like when they see a human that is engaged, they at least they have AI that they can approach and speak to. Why we think that the trust has been increasing is because we saw the utilization rate across different industries from retail to hospitality to tourism sector and even trade shows. We really see how the engagement in terms of the duration spent speaking, and we saw how the funneling took place to understand about the products and services that were asked about increase over time. And I would say that with the AI being able to provide accurate information and answering directly to what the customers are looking or asking for, that would help a lot. Unlike a chatbot, which would probably take you rounds and rounds before answering your question, or maybe it wouldn't even answer your question at all. Yeah. So that's on the customer side. And I think for the organizations who implement this AI technology, one important thing is honesty. Based on the data, how has it performed? What are the insights being captured? And what are the things that are not done well by the AI? And these are the kind of refinement that needs to take place along with the technology, together with the operations of the organization. And with that honesty, right, it allows both the organization to progress along with using such AI tools to make their operations even better.
Yeah. And I do find as well, it seems as though, and this has been a conversation here over the last couple of days, it needs to be, as you said, honest. It's very transparent, but you also need to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that just goes like this. It's a learning process. You need to be committed to actually tweaking, changing, and activating what the AI knows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, you're right. So like we had the stats as well. When we first deployed the AI ambassador, the AI would tell the customer like, I do not know. I don't have this information. So every 4 questions asked, there were 1 question that is, no, I don't know. But after months of implementation, we managed to reduce it to less than 1%.
Yeah.
So I think this insight is important because this is the part where AI can actually support human employees because we are not able to capture the data when a customer tell an employee say, since you don't know, sorry, I'm leaving right now. Right? So there is this, there's no tangible data that can capture this. And in fact, retailers have no idea how much sales they are losing because of that. Yeah.
So it's so true. Now, you've expanded beyond Singapore into other markets across the region. What have you learned about what customers actually want from an autonomous retail experience that has surprised you?
I would say two data set that we find it very interesting. The first one is language. Language barrier is actually a very big thing, but I guess it's a pain point that people just try to live with it, because if someone can't speak your language, they can't, and there's nothing you can do about it. So with this AI implementation, we saw how the gap is actually being bridged with so many non-English languages being exchanged, and that was very insightful for us. And the second one would be implementation of technology or AI technology is always fanciful. It's a very fun word to use and a very hot word to use. But end of the day, based on the past experience that we had over the years, is education and changing of habits is one of the toughest thing and most expensive things that anyone could do or any organization could do. So I would say that any implementation of technology, whether it's AI or any other technology, we want to keep it simple and do not defray too much from what a human habit is like. And that would actually help the adoption by both importantly, the customers as well as the operators.
That makes sense. So for a retailer in this audience who's intrigued by autonomous retail but hasn't moved yet, what's the real barrier, and what would you just say to them about next steps?
Right. There are two barriers that I would like to share. The first one is actually ROI, because it is something new, and I think without AI, right, there are a lot of data that we can't capture. For example, like poor customer experience where customers walk away, but they don't tell you why they walk away, why they stop buying from you. These are the data that we do not have. And when every time a sales staff say that, I don't know, I need to check, I'm not sure, this poor experience actually translates to a lot of sales losses, but they can't be captured in terms of numbers. So I think it's more of helping retailers who are considering adopting technology or AI to reframe their thoughts in terms of how they measure ROI using the known and the unknown numbers. So that's one. And the second portion would be retailers are concerned adopting autonomous technology like AI would lose the human touch. And that is a statement that I totally agree with. So moving forward, I do not see how retail stores are going to be like 24/7 unmanned or autonomous. It will be more of a hybrid model where humans will always be there during peak hour to help with VIP customers. And only during off-peak hour, that's when the AI will take over to run the operations. So humans will really only concentrate on high-value products based on the 80% of their time. So you can imagine how human employees will become a lot more valuable because they will be engaging VIP customers, they will be engaging and closing important and big sales instead of just answering generic question. Yep. What is this product about?
It allows for you to provide a more premium experience.
Yes.
And play a really different role in getting that bit closer to the customer.
Yes. And in addition to that, you can also imagine this AI will become the employee's personal assistant. Because we are all humans. There's no way we can remember every single ingredients of every product, right?
Yeah.
Or even have the knowledge to know that, you are probably have allergies to certain ingredients. So that's when you could have a pocket AI with you that can share with you all this information, the latest promotion. And then from there, you'll have consistent customer service, consistent product knowledge, and that's where you can provide a consistent customer experience.
Now, you've been operating at the edge of this for about 6 years now. Where does autonomous retail and AI-powered customer engagement go in the next 3, do you think? And what will be the retailers who acted look like compared to the ones who waited?
I think moving forward, how this whole retail scene is going to be like will be really focusing on hybrid model, having AI to amplify employees' role. So it's not asking them to do 3 different tasks at a single time. Not possible. It's more of amplifying their multi-purpose role, doing different things that can really value add to the company and, of course, boosting the upper line.
Makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for joining me on Retail Untangled.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Retail Untangled, and a big thank you to Alex from Intellify for joining me live from NRF APAC. To be the first to know when the next episode lands, like and follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts.